Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. It is your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Reach out to me directly. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for pricing. Today we are discussing a lovely yellow gold dress watch with PanoReserve made in Eastern Germany in the Saxon city of Glashütte. This is the Glashütte Original PanoReserve, 39.4 millimeters in diameter, 10.9 millimeters thick, 45.5 millimeters from lug tip to lug tip, with a 19 millimeter spacing between the lugs. We'll throw this watch on my wrist, which is 16 centimeters in circumference, and it's an easy fit, being sloped to flank and less than 11 millimeters thick. It slides easily underneath the dress cuff. You can see from this down the barrel shot, the lugs come nowhere near the edge of my wrist, and even from over the top, you can see I have a lot of clearance on each side. This watch is viable for men with smaller wrists, taste for more traditionally sized watches, or even ladies who are looking to get into a serious East German complication. Taking a look at the strap, you can see it's large rectangular scale alligator leather. It's a sort of reddish brown with a matte finish. It is bolstered to give it some volume. There's stuffing in there. It has a folded edge, a monotone stitch, and black calfskin on the bottom. You can see it's a brand new Glashütte Original factory strap. We have here a deployant clasp, and it's a double fold deployant with twin trigger release. So the twin triggers make sure it's really going to stay shut. It's not friction fit like a lot of dress watch clasps. You have to press both to open it up. It's also a double fold, which works better on a small wrist. You don't have the one big up and over fold, which can pinch a tiny wrist. And then underneath, you have a nice refinement that should be universal on deployant clasps, but isn't. A deployant clasp gives you extra security against dropping your watch, because when connected to the other side, it forms a loop that's hard to lose. It's hard to drop this off your wrist as you're opening it up. But sometimes, on rare occasions, a strap can pull through the buckle. So the solution here is to have a little clamshell that locks shut and, like a vice, pinches the strap so it cannot pull through. Some of the best deployant clasps have that, but it's rarely seen. You can see externally, we have a little Geo logo. It's polished. There's some media blasting around it. Turning back to the case, it's mostly of satin finish. The lugs aren't stepped out as dramatically as on, say, a Longa, but nor are these integrated Portuguese or Calatrava style lugs. There's a little bit of a break between case flank and lug, and it gives the watch a bit of a vintage look. We have the satin finish on the case flank as well as on the profile of the lugs. They're polished on their top, and then they come to a tapered point. We have a polished and stepped bezel. Take note, the bezel is primarily polished, but the flange abutting the box section sapphire, that's actually satinated for contrast. Turning it around, we have a polished Glashütte Original branded crown, and then a dial that is principally what Patek Philippe would call opaline silver white. So the majority of the dial is a non-directional sort of frosted metallic. It doesn't have the strong directional grain of a sunburst dial, or for that matter, the hour and minute track here, or the seconds track, or the PanoReserve scale. So this is the PanoReserve. We have a PanoReserve indicator. We have a panorama datum, and this is the PanoReserve because of the panorama datum and the gang reserve. So what else do we have? Well, we've got a quick set for the date, which is fun to operate because double-digit dates are an absolute blast. And you can see the discs are fit flush, which is rare and upscale. The PanoReserve indicator traces a 42-hour manual wind PanoReserve. We do have a hacking seconds function, and we have rose gold alpha-style hands for the hours and minutes, a counterweighted lancet-style seconds hand. We have applique, yellow gold indices, yellow gold hands, yellow gold watch, everything matches there. And then we have brushed circular concentric metallic for the hour and minute track, and then for the seconds track. That's much more directional and overtly silver metallic than the opaline features of the dial. And there's a little step down in the aperture to the date. It's not a sheer cut through the dial, it's sloped down to the date, which shows good taste. Turn it all over. This watch is spectacular on the reverse side. All this water resistant down to 30 meters. Here we have the caliber 65-01, and this was launched in the early 2000s. Its signature is a full balance bridge to better brace the balance, each side of which has been freehand engraved and equipped with a black polished duplex swan's neck fine adjustment mechanism. Now, this freehand engraving is done with a burin. There are no engines or lathes, so no two are exactly alike. And while this is common on German-made watches, thanks to some of the standards set by Lange in the 90s, this watch gives you a little bit extra. As you can see, the terminal end of the drivetrain has also been equipped with its own separate half bridge and then freehand engraved. We have Glashütte stripes across the 3/4 style bridge. Both of those nods to the pocket watch era of watchmaking in East Germany. So too the use of pivot jewels set in golden chaton that are themselves fixed by fire-blued screws. We have both black polished and fired-blued screws on the case back here. Chaton were originally created in the era of less precise watchmaking, when it wasn't possible to fit a jewel directly to a bridge or a plate. So the precision golden cup would be created, the jewel would be pressed into that, and then it would be set in the bridge or the plate using screws to fix it. In the modern era, they're not technically necessary, but I have heard it said that they had a little bit more shock resistance because there's a bit more inherent give. Now this beats away at 28,800 vibrations per hour. It pivots on 48 jewels, and it is adjusted in 5 positions, which is impressive because that's generally the standard for high horology and chronometer grade watches. If you look on the edges of the bridges, you can also see mirrored anglage of the finest type, and then there is engine turning on the base plate with satination on the wheels, though they are difficult to see because they're mostly covered. You can also appreciate that the cover to the escape wheel has been entirely black polished with diamond paste. Lots to love. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.